Hello, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the firewall, where Monday and Tuesday are our topics, Wednesdays are discussion, Thursdays the Ask Us SP, Friday is everything else, right? This is that episode, the movies, books, games, things that are generally not cybersecurity related, right? Like, so this is that time now, you know what I mean? We get to cut loose a little bit, you know what I mean? But as you can see, Ryan is not here. He's out enjoying himself, taking a little staycation. Really, he didn't go too far, but he's out there enjoying himself. He'll be back next week to tell us about it and how much fun it was. Hopefully, right, with everything that's going on. But with us, with you today, right, you got myself, Shannon Tynes, and you got Daniel Acevedo.
How's it going, guys? Today is unofficial mascot. It's this little guy. My daughter didn't want this one, so it's a little finger. So he's the mascot for today's episode.
Is that a cool?
Yeah, I said, I don't want the koala.
Okay.
No, it's cool. Sorry.
Sponsored by the koala today. That's what we're doing. And we also got Chris Abagon.
What's going on, everybody?
Everybody. So look, yeah, that is kind of cute, right? Like it's like, oh, see this. They get older, Daniel. That's what happens, man. They're like, I want this. I don't want that. Like you used to want everything. Anything that came from me was gold. Was gold to you. You know.
He was like not having it. Because it's like
mad?
Yeah, it's like a bath bomb. So like on the bag of the bath bomb, on the back, it shows you which animals you can get. And the one she didn't want was a koala. And when the bath bomb dissolved and the koala came out, she was like, not having it. She's like, I don't want it. Take it away. I was like, okay. I'll take the koala. I'm sorry.
Like I saw what you saw. It was a selection. Like I don't know what's in here, right?
Like, no, it's your fault. I don't like the koala. It's over. Koala's dead to me.
Like you brought this to me, so it is on you to fix this. She's like different bath bomb. Now put it in there.
That's getting cold.
Now you got to buy an X-ray machine to see what the shape of the new one is. What's going on?
Please go to the bath bombs.
What's the one for pregnancies? What do you call that? The sonogram? You got to buy a sonogram. You know? Sonogram. Yeah. Oh man, this is crazy. But hey, so we're gonna talk about our weeks, right? So like for me, didn't really do too much this week. Started watching a couple of things. Started rewatching Modern Family. I don't know if you guys ever watched Modern Family, but like I got a little bit into it, and then I usually watch it when my wife is around, so she came down to hang out with me a little bit, and I was like, all right, let's watch the Modern Family, and like that show is still funny, man. Like it still carries today. Like Phil is wild on there, man. It's like, how can you be like if you've never watched the show, it's just like, man, you are something else, man. Like how did Claire marry you? You know what I mean? But again, it's fictional, right? But it's like you're a great actor because I believe you're an idiot. You know what I mean? So like it's crazy. You are Ty Burrell's the guy's name. You're a great actor, man. But I watched a little bit of that. I started watching. I didn't get all the way through it, but I'm a sports guy, right? So there was this Sports Center does these different exposés every so often, and there's this one called Werewolf, like WHERE Wolf. So do you guys ever seen the what is it, the Chiefaholic? Like it's the guy that used to dress up in the wolf costume, and then he would have like Kansas City Chiefs gear on and whatnot. He was like a super fan. Right?
Yeah.
So that guy a couple of years ago was arrested for bank robbery. I don't know if you guys ever saw the story.
Interesting.
Yes, because like this guy was everywhere. He was going to away games. You know what I mean? He was going to the away games. He's going to home games. He was at the Super Bowl. So like everybody thought, okay, this must be like a trust fund baby or something to have money like this to be going to these games. To be buying these tickets, especially when it's the Chiefs who have been winning Super Bowls consistently. Like those tickets aren't cheap. Like even if they go to a terrible team stadium, like that terrible team that's hosting it is like, all right, it's time to get our money now, right? Like you want to come see the Super Bowl champs, you're going to pay for it. Your nosebleeds are going to be $300 now, right? To see the Chiefs play, to see them beat up on us and beat us by 30. You know what I mean? So. But this guy was everywhere, and it turns out he was a gambling addict, right? That was robbing. He robbed at least one bank. Like I haven't gotten far enough to see if he's been doing it for like years or whatnot, because the guy didn't have a job that paid more than like $14 an hour or something like that. I think he was working in the Amazon warehouse or something like that. But it was wild. I was like, oh, I've got to finish this, right? Like something came up, and I was like,
that's dedication to your team, man.
Yes,
Like, man. man.
Like,
I'm gonna spend my entire paycheck on this Chiefs tickets, right? Like, holy moly!
Well, when he ran out of money, he was robbing banks. Yeah,
robbing banks. Yeah,
gotta get it. But yeah, they caught him. Like he was not sophisticated in his bank robbery. Like he left the bank on a bike. Like he was bike riding. He was bike riding to his car when the police came up on him. You know what I mean? So like that guy wasn't a genius. But I want to finish it off because it's like an hour long thing, and I only got like halfway through. But I was like, this is crazy, and I remembered the story. Like the story when it came out, I was like, I do somewhat remember this. But yeah, it's called Werewolf, is what it's called. But yeah, that's interesting. I'll probably give the recap on that next week when I finish it up to be like, oh man, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Or maybe I won't be here next week because we play the Bills, and if they blow us out like they've been doing people, I'm calling in sick. I'm telling you now, Ryan. When you see this, when you go to produce this episode, I'm calling in sick if y'all beat us and treat us terribly tonight, right? So we'll see. I also started watching this show called High Potential on TV, and it's got you guys ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? You ever seen that show? So Sweet D, the girl who plays Sweet D, Caitlin Olsen, she's this woman that's got like a crazy high IQ, but she's recently divorced or separating, one of the two, and she's got these 3 children at home. But she was a janitor for this police station, and she saw something on the board one night and like something out to like kind of solve it, and I was like, oh, okay, I see, this is like a detective show, you know what I mean? But she's a comedian, so there's some comedic aspects to it, right? It's decent. I've seen the first 2 episodes and I'm like, okay, that's not bad. The other one I watched, that's a new one, is called Dr. Odyssey, and that one I was like, okay, this is going to be like House on the Ocean is what I was thinking, which it kind of is. But then it went into some other stuff that I'm like, me and my wife were watching it, and she was just like, "You've lost interest already, haven't you?" I was like, "Yes, I have." They go into this whole love story thing. I'm like, "Look, man, like I want House on a cruise ship. That's what I want."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's actually, you know what's funny? That was playing randomly yesterday on the TV, and I'm like, "What is this show?" Because we got family just came back from a cruise, right? And so like we're watching news, and then Dr. Odyssey for some reason was on the TV. I'm like, "What is this? This is super cool. This boat's dope. You got this doctors team." Like, and I just remember them like, we're not a surgery, we're not a level 5 hospital that can handle this, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's actually kind of a cool concept. I want to see, hey, they're out in the Bahamas and somebody gets some kind of disease, and then they figure out it's lupus or something like freaking House did.
It is a very interesting concept, and you're right, man. Like the ship was awesome. Like they were walking through doors that were like automatic doors that like swung out. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have to push a door or anything. I was like, man, and like the
Get me
dining room area. Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll cost you though. Like this is probably one of those cruises where it's probably like $10,000 a person or something like that. You know, something crazy. But no, it is a very cool concept, but they got to delve into the romantic aspect of it, where the new doctor, and one of the nurses that are on there, and I'm like, I don't care about this, man. Like,
I don't know this part.
Like, I don't
Whatever
know.
happened to good old?
Just give me the stats and gunshots. Give me all the diagnosis.
I think the right way to do like romance is like tension, just like little bit of hits and little things there, right? Like with House and however that was done, right? But like it shouldn't just go into like a full blown, oh yeah, we should be dating and blah blah. Like I don't know, I don't like that. No, it's gotta build up, right?
Yeah, that's and even then when it builds up, I'm like, hey, can we only spend like 5 minutes on this? Like, I don't need this too. Because like it was kind of a jerk move. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was kind of a jerk move. So like he's getting affectionate with one of the people on the ship, but it's somebody that somebody else already told him he had feelings. They had feelings for her. You know what I mean? So like right in front of the other guy, he's just like being a jerk. I'm like, oh, that's a jerk move. You know what I mean? But that part I kind of was like, all right with, but it's what it is. I also watched the first episode of The Penguin on Max. Have you guys seen this one? It's a spinoff from
That's the
I've heard of it. Yeah, my buddy watched these. I love it. He went and watched the Batman movie again because he liked it so much.
So here's the thing. I wasn't that big a fan of the last Batman movie because it was so long, and it was really like in my memory, because I've only seen it one time, only 4 fight scenes. Like I realized this is like Batman Year One, right? Like this is the fresh Batman, but like I only have 4 fighting scenes there. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like show me some good detective work or something, to get me out of that. And this picks up like right where it left off with the movie, like right after. Like, so I'm not giving out any spoilers. The movie's been out this long. If you haven't seen it since now, like it's whatever. But like the Riddler flooded Gotham, right? Like he had let these bombs off and let Gotham flood, and it's right from there they're talking about it, and like there's all this crime going on and this, that, and the third, and then the Penguin, like the Falcone family, which we know about the Falcones, right? They've been in Batman lore forever.
Yep.
They have to come to power. You know what I mean? So it was. I'm gonna give it another shot, right? Like I usually give episodes 3 tries before I'm like, all right, I'm not messing with you anymore. But the first one, I was like, I realized you got to set it up a little bit, but it was kind of crazy, right? So it was interesting. It is dark, right? Like just the stuff that they deal with. And DC's always been darker than Marvel, right? When it comes to what they do, right? It's always been a dark comic book. I don't want to call it a series, but like that company has always been dark when it comes to their comic, right? Somebody's parents are always dying. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever it may be. But those were pretty much the things. Those were pretty much the things I did this week. What about you, Chris? I know you had a fairly adventurous week this week, Chris.
Yeah. So this week, not a lot of media consumption. If anything, most of my media consumption was watching the news for the hurricane and things that were happening here in the Tampa Bay area, right? So there was a lot of question if it was going to hit directly, if it's going north. I just kind of had a feeling the Panhandle was going to get it again, and that's what happened. But anyway, earlier this week, I actually headed out to a conference in Huntsville, Alabama, called the National Cyber Summit. Right, National Cyber Summit is like a congregation of like a lot of governments, a lot of cybersecurity companies, and then an expo, and they've got speakers and stuff like that. So I get there on Tuesday, which I happened to be very uneventful because we were thinking the expo was going to be open on Tuesday, but it turns out that's where they're open. They have like an opening night of the expo where it started like 5:00, but they had events for like teaching and paid classes, and we didn't attend that. But anyway, that's the only day that I was able to attend because of the hurricane, right? So I had to fly back Wednesday the next day, which is actually happened to be the speaking events where all the stuff was happening, and that's what we're trying to go to. But again, the team went out and saw that, so that was great. But I wasn't able to attend, unfortunately. But I mean, really, I spent a lot of time at the airport, really in uncertainty on Wednesday because, the storm was headed to Florida at that point in time because it was really fast traveling. Atlanta, where I was flying to as a connecting flight, they actually had to shut down for an hour because of lightning and things like that in the afternoon. So I was stuck in Huntsville for a good 3 or 4 hours. And of course, I was afraid that I wasn't going to make the flights in Atlanta, but lo and behold, right, everybody was canceled, right? So you've got like you've got a 1 hour outage basically. Next thing you know, it's just it cascades into delays throughout the entire. It's just crazy. But 8-9 hours later, I get home. 9 p.m. right, which it should have only been like 4 or 5 hours. It ended up being an extra 8. But we the next day was when the hurricane was supposed to arrive, and then that entire day was just like I'm trying to work and then I'm watching the news. It's just like when you have something like that happening, you're just extremely distracted, right? And it's just like you got to make sure, hey, do we have to evacuate? Is the evacuation order gonna come up for us? So that was kind of my Thursday, and then Friday was kind of just like the recovery period, right? Like luckily it didn't hit us directly. But a lot of areas here in the St. Petersburg area where I live were flooded, right? Especially if you're on the barrier islands and at sea level. Like a lot of people lost everything, so it's really sad to see.
Yeah, it's rough.
But specifically in my region, the northeast region, the water sewage plant actually shut down. So we got an email and just notices, hey, you guys can't shower or you guys can't use your water for approximately 48 hours. So we're like, oh gosh. So that was Friday morning, and then we're like, okay. So luckily, I do work remote, and it's okay. We had to go to a family member's house to continue working because, like, hey, I need to be able to use the bathroom, right? I need to be able to use the shower and wash my hands. Like it's
How was that travel? How was that travel? Because you did that Friday morning. Like it was like on you at that point, right? Like
no. Luckily, the storm was Friday morning. It was already in Tennessee and North Carolina.
Really? Okay.
Right. Yes. It was booking it, but like it landed. I would say, I think it landed Friday night, Thursday night, and just made its way past Atlanta, past Georgia, past Alabama, past Tennessee and North Carolina region, like kind of that state area. It was already there on Friday. But if you watch the news recently, like North Carolina, like Asheville, I mean, devastating floods, right?
Dang.
And and I was thinking about this, like there's not a lot of coverage of this on TV right now. Like,
no,
what's crazy is like, yeah, it's an election year, but hey, man, like this is our American, these are our brothers and like this is our fellow Americans, and like there's nobody in the national news is covering. People are losing everything, right? So it's just really interesting and just weird. I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like people more focused on about the election than protecting, at least the news is, and protecting and giving awareness to people that are losing their livelihoods and their lives, right? So it's I mean, a little bit sad on that end.
You know what's weird? You know what's weird about that? Like, I didn't take notice of that because I was getting a lot of, so like I have the Weather Channel app on my phone, and that's popping up constantly with floods here and this many people dead and this, that, and the third. So I was of the assumption that it was international news because I kept seeing it pop up on the app, and I would watch these videos and see what's going on. And I'm like, woo! Like seeing some of the videos of like these waves were like crashing on rooftops. You know what I mean? The flooding was so high. Yeah, and I did not. I just assumed it was everywhere, and I guess I haven't been in the news like I thought it would, and that's a little disheartening. You know what I mean?
It is. I honestly think it is because it's an election year. Like everything's focused on the election, blah blah blah. So like, it's a little bit like to me, it's a little bit goes to show you where their priorities are, and it's just like kind of unfortunate. But from the media end, we are recording on Sunday, right? Football was interesting yesterday, and congrats Penn State, you guys beat the Illini. I saw that one coming. I mean, it was close at first. It was shaky at first, right? But it's weird with like Big Ten and SEC being so huge now. It's like, I mean, again, we're not there yet. We're a lot of the intra-conferential games. I'm just like rooting for Big Ten all the way. Like, dude, just beat SEC. I'm done with them. I'm sick of seeing them on freaking prime time. I'm like, is there any way for Georgia and Florida and Alabama to lose at the same time? Which was actually a decent game at the end. But like, I hope they both lose. Yeah,
Minnesota put up a good fight, man.
Yeah, and that's good against Michigan. And I wasn't expecting. I thought we were gonna get blown out, right? But I think we were behind in the first half, but the second half, I saw some again. Like Minnesota's never been really like a super contender in college football. Like Minnesota has always been like a hockey and wrestling state, right? Like hockey, wrestling, Minnesota is up there. But the fact that they put up a fight against one of the best teams in the country, good stuff, right? I think it's good. Or Michigan's overrated. Like there could be that. They could be overrated, right? So
here's the thing. I don't think that's the case, right? Michigan lost a lot of talent. Like that happens, right? Whenever you win a national championship, people that are eligible to go are going to go. And like Michigan lost like 12 of their starters from last year from both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like they lost a lot of talent, and there is some regrouping to be done, right? Because they've already got a loss this year. They lost to. Who did they lose to? Texas, right? Was it Texas? I think they lost to.
But so Texas is killing it.
Texas is killing it, man. But like they started off slow yesterday too. So like it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, and the SEC, like you got some losses that are coming up there. Ole Miss lost; they were ranked number 6, right? So,
true.
But yeah, man, it is an interesting college football season, and I got a coworker who's an Oregon fan, and I keep telling him, I was like, look, man, the Pac-12, I was like, these aren't Pac-12 defenses in the Big Ten, man. I was like, it's one of those things. I tell him, I was like, look, you may not think Iowa is good, but everybody who plays Iowa, like their points per game drops significantly. Like their defense is way better than what you can give them credit for. It's just their offense usually lags behind, right?
Right.
But the Big Ten, that's just how it is, man. And I keep telling them, I was like, you guys are not going to be as great as you think you are. And he's like, oh, we're going to win a national championship, this, that, and the third. I was like, they started the season at number 3, and they're down to 8, and they haven't lost yet. Like that goes to tell you, like you guys are struggling, like not against the greatest competition. It's only going to get worse for you because they have Michigan, Ohio State. I think they had Minnesota on there this year, right? So like they're. It's not going to be as easy for y'all as y'all think it is, but I could be wrong. Exactly. Like the season ain't played out yet, but no, Minnesota. Like I saw that, and I almost sent the message to you. I almost reached out to you, Chris, because I was like, man, that's a heartbreaker. Because I was watching it
for sure.
Like, ooh,
that was a close one. That would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been a great win.
Yeah.
But NFL side, it's big one for us. It's Vikings Packers. That's the one that I care about. I mean, like, it's like like what's your least favorite team, Chan? Probably Steelers.
Steelers, yes. Yeah, I respect them, but I don't like them.
Yeah, like same with me. I respect the Packers, but like I don't like I hope to lose every game, right? So that's my game, and that's what I'll be looking forward to today. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, Sam Darnold's playing pretty well. So I mean, lights out really, and I'm just hoping he keeps this up for an entire season. But yeah, that's kind of been my week in a nutshell. One last thing for my flights, right? So I flew Delta. Did you guys know that Delta has trading cards? Like they've got trading cards. Yeah. So if the pilots of each Delta plane, like whatever platform they fly, they carry this is a 757 card. They carry the card, like it's got like stats, like a trading card of their platform, right? So I've got 3. So if you ask them as you deplane, right, they'll give you a card and they're super happy. Yeah, thanks for flying Delta. But they're really cool and nerdy about it, right? So I've flown on the A321 and then the 737, right? So it's pretty cool. I just wanted to share that with you guys. But anytime you're on a Delta flight, if you see the captain or the pilot, be like, "Hey, sir, you mind giving me a trading card?" They will happily give you one because then they're like, cool. "Oh yeah, thanks for flying Delta. Appreciate your business."
Delta Rewards member, like I fly Delta, and I never knew that. Like I never knew that, and I always greet them on the way out because they're standing right there as you.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, "Here you go, sir. Thanks for flying Delta." And they're really cool about it. Usually, they might want to do a conversation. Yeah, I usually like maybe chat with them for like a minute, but obviously I just asked the guy this time because the 757. If you guys don't know about the 757, right? At least on Delta planes, you board and it's kind of like you board right in between like the
one that's in the
plus
middle
and first
between,
class. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So usually when I deplane on a 757, you never see the pilot because the pilot is up there, right?
Yeah,
is up at the front. But this time he was standing right by the flight attendants, right? And I was like, yes, finally I can get a 757 card because I've flown a 757 a million times, but usually the pilot's already gone, right? Or because I'll be on like the economy seats, right? And by the time I get out of there, the pilot's already left, right? So I finally got one after flying like a 757 flight like for a long time, right? But yeah, that's just one other thing I gotta share. I want to get the international flight ones, the A350s and the A330s, those Airbus planes.
The Airbuses,
yeah, but they've got like, and this one's cool. When they had a plane to France for the Olympics, they had a trading card for that specific plane during that time. So I'm like, it's just little things. I mean, American carriers, they're all pretty cool, but like Delta has little touches like this that makes me want to keep flying. Like not trying to plug Delta, but I think it's just really, really cool that they got little cool trading cards that I can collect. And as a nerd, it's like, yeah, I want it.
That's pretty cool though.
What's crazy is I've had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, Delta's terrible. Delta's terrible." I was like, my experience with Delta has been pretty good, man.
I always had a great experience with Delta. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, so I think in this case, like obviously because of the weather, usually my experience with Delta is pretty fine. But like any airline, you want to fly in the morning because if you fly out at night, there's just more chances for delays. That plane's already flown like 5-7 routes wherever they're coming from, and there's gonna be issues. That's just how it is. But I think in general, I think the airline they're very similar, American and United. It's just the little touches that I think make me want to fly Delta a little bit more. That's just it. So but that's all I had. So.
No worries. No, don't say I like Delta a lot. Though if I'm walking out the plane, I'm just gonna be like, give me the card. Don't be talking to me. I just want the card. Just give me the card.
They're gonna be exactly. Thank you for flying Delta. Thank you for your business.
If you do it like that, they're gonna be like, "Nah, we know about you, Warren Buffett hater. We're out of it."
Warren Buffett owns this like 30% of Delta.
Yeah,
out of it, doesn't it?
Berkshire Hathaway. They're gonna be like, Berkshire Hathaway is our biggest stock investor.
So what went to this week? I was sick last week, and I think I said on the pod, and it was like the cold that would not go away. It's like one day I was okay, the next day I was like crap, like through the whole week until like literally I think Friday or Saturday I finally feel normal again. But this week I was the whole week in ACAS training. Actually, I haven't like worked with ACAS in a long time. It's one of the obviously DoD systems that the cybersecurity team uses. Working between them and other departments. So how to get the training, it was pretty cool. It's a long time. It's honestly been like probably 8 years since I've used the tool. Lots changed with it. It does a lot more things now that I remember.
It's tenable, right?
It's still tenable.
Yeah.
But if you've ever used OpenVAS or Manage Engine or any of these other like vulnerability scanners. They're all pretty kind of similar. So the GUI and the interface is all pretty much the same. So it was cool. It was long days. There was like a lot of labs and a lot of videos. So, working from home or like doing training from home, it was self-paced. I thought, oh, it'll be fast. It'll, if it's self-paced, I'm just going to blow through it. But it was like, from 8 to like 6. It was like very long days. I was happy I finished that. I didn't really get a chance to do a lot of media or like gaming this week because of that. We finished that on Friday. Then we had to come up to Tokyo to do some appointments that we had with the government here for my wife. And then the weekend was great though. Like nothing special, nothing crazy, but it was like wholesome for me. Like I spent a lot of time with my wife and my kid and my mother-in-law. I don't know, like it was funny. I met this guy in a Starbucks somewhere. And he's like, oh, your wife's Japanese and she speaks really good English? I goes, yeah. And then we were in line. So we sat at one of the communal tables. I was like, hey, do you mind if I sit down with you guys? I was like, yeah, that's fine. This is a young kid. He was actually from the Netherlands. His name was Oes. And I was like, well, what's your full name? He's like, Ousman. And I was like, what's your background, heritage? He's like, well, I'm actually from Morocco. When my family moved to Netherlands, then that's where I grew up. He was a really, really interesting young kid. But he asked me about my life. I said, we moved here to Japan. We're living here now. We have a 4-year-old daughter and all that stuff. He's like, well, how do you feel? I was like, honestly, I'm super happy. And that was kind of like the whole weekend and the whole week for me. Like we're in this place now. We're kind of like settled. We hit 4 months living here. I usually like stress myself a lot to like do a lot of things. And right now I'm kind of like at peace. My kid's growing great. My relationship with my wife is good. We're all healthy. We're all happy. Like I don't need anything more in life. Everything else is like plus. So that's how the weekend felt. We had like great lunches. We went out. I played a bunch with my kid in the playgrounds. We had great dinners, a couple of beers, like nothing crazy. It was just like nice. It was like very wholesome. It was like a good finish to the weekend. Honestly, doing this pod too, wrapping it up. Like I can't think of anything else really. It's just not sick anymore. Learned some stuff this week. And had a great time with my family this weekend. So next weekend, though, unfortunately, I won't be on the pod. We're going to go Saturday to a Disney hotel, and then we're going to go to one of the new parts of the park of Disney in Tokyo, which I'm not looking forward to because we have to get there super early and stand in line just to get into the park early. And like, I'll shoot you guys the videos. It is insane. My wife sent me one on Instagram, and I was like, is the park still that crazy? She's like, yes. And I'm talking about there's like hundreds and hundreds of people that just wait for the park to open to then go to that new section of the park. And I'm like, this is literally my nightmare. This is my hell. But forget it. My kid will be happy. So,
what is the theme of the new section? Like, is it like...
It's like Rapunzel and Frozen and Peter Pan and Tangled. Yeah. So, a little girl's like paradise. So, she'll enjoy it. I think my wife enjoys it more than my kid. And I'm like, who are we really doing this for right now? Can we just wait a year where the stuff dies down a little bit? I don't have to do this. But I was like, forget it. It's fine. It's whatever. I'll get over it. I'll have a good time. I'll be happy. But yeah, besides that, we're going to start watching Shogun. It's on my list. You talked about HBO Max, and I remember I watched the half season of House of Dragons, and I never went back to like binge the rest of the episodes to finish it. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, man. Actually, we watched like the first part of Game of Thrones, right? The first season, and we just haven't gotten back to it, right? We got to like episode 6 or something, but I think at some point we're gonna have to pick that stuff back up once we kind of normalize back here again. But yeah, definitely.
It's an hour-long episode, so sometimes it's hard to like. At the end of the day, because that's the only time we can really watch it, because we put our kids to sleep. It's like 7:30 or 8:30. Like, I really want to spend like an hour watching an episode. I'm so tired, or like, so we have to pick and choose what we want to do. But Shogun, like won all those awards, and my wife now is like, oh, we should really watch it. We wanted to watch it when it came out a year ago. So now she's like, hell bent, we're gonna like watch this. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm sorry, Sam. That's not a Shannon show. Right.
I'm curious, right? So I was just getting ready to go into this. Like you knew what I was getting ready to say. So like I've heard the show is beautiful. Like when it comes to like how they set everything up, like it's beautiful. With a lot of the movies that are Asian culture, that is always the case, right? Like they do a very good job of capturing the different colors and the things and the changings and things like that. Like they do a very good job of that. But like if I see Shogun and I see these samurai outfits, like I want swords to come out. I need heads chopped off all the time. All the time. All the time. Like I go through the rest of it. But like I talked to somebody that watched it and they were like, yeah, it's a lot of, talking and like power playing and politicking. Yeah. stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but with those swords probably look beautiful when they come out. Like, why don't we see more of that? You know what I mean? Like, I need that in my life. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. I think just a big thank you. There's a phrase in Japanese. It's called yoyu. Just means like balance, right? So just find your balance in your life, whatever that means to you. It'll bring you a lot of happiness. Trust me.
Look at that. We up here bringing up Japanese philosophy and how to live a better life. You know what I mean? This is the Friday episode, everybody. This is what we get into, right? Like this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Unless you guys got anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. You know what I mean? But yeah, good week all around, fellas. Like I said, everybody, don't tell Ryan. We might try to do a takeover. Don't let him know. You know what I mean? Even though he produces the show and he'll see this when it comes up. Hey, everybody! Look, don't forget to like, share, subscribe out there. Hit the bell, the button, whatever it is for whatever medium you are using to watch us. Make sure you subscribe to it. All right, get it up. So hit up all the social media platforms that go by the podcast name. So it'd be the other side of the firewall, the other side of FW. Check out ramcyber.io, which is going to be the landing page for everything going. Everything is going to be going eventually. It's going to be tied in. Check it out now, but eventually you'll start seeing a lot of this stuff be on there as the way going forward. But yeah, everybody, look, we enjoyed it. We enjoy you. Keep watching us. Keep taking in the information. If you got any suggestions for us, let us know, right? You can find Ryan out there on all the social medias at Ry Security Guy. Daniel, where can they find you?
On LinkedIn under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
You, Chris?
On LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon, last name spelled A. Bacon.
All right, everybody. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoy doing it for you. All right. Stay safe. Stay secure.